Hi, everyone, and welcome. I am Alyssa Footerer, Marketing Manager at Nisum, and we'd like to thank you all for joining our Nisum Tech Talk today. The title of our Tech Talk is Harnessing the Power of Generative AI to Elevate Enterprise Search. So in this Tech Talk today, our panel of industry experts will take a deep dive into generative AI technology and how to use Gen AI to elevate enterprise search and to discuss a framework to get started. So just some general housekeeping here. Like I said, thanks again for joining us. Your mics are muted, so you don't have to worry about muting yourself. And then also, we'd love to hear from you. So if you have any questions during the webinar, please submit them in the Q&A at the bottom of your Zoom window, and we will get to them at the end of the webinar. So here is our agenda for today. First, we're starting out with some team introductions, and then we're going to get into Gen AI for enterprise search, the Nisum Gen AI Advantage, a live feature demo, how Nisum can help, and then we're going to get into the Q&A and closing remarks. So here are all of our panelists for today. You've already met me, so after me, we're going to have Tina Wang, who's our VP of Growth Marketing and Revenue at Nisum, Srinivas Devarakonda, who's our Principal Data Scientist at Nisum, Syed Osama Hussain, who's our Software Engineer at Nisum, and Kashif Ali Siddiqui, who's our Practice Head at Nisum. So now we're going to jump right in, and I'm going to hand it over to Tina to get us started.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to learn about Nisum and generative AI. So for those of you who are not aware of Nisum, I want to do a quick little intro. Nisum, we are a global technology consulting company, and we specialize in custom software development, specifically focusing on digital commerce. Now, digital commerce incorporates a lot of things to us. It means making a purchase online. It means exchanging information, ideas, data, having experiences. And generally, what Nisum is focused on is bringing to life these great experiences over some sort of digital exchange. And we have been really focused on doing this for our clients over the past 2 decades. And what we like to say is that we really can bring to life your digital commerce experience from end to end. And how we do this is through 4 main areas within our organization. The first one, if you look at the top of this wheel here that we have, is data. So data is taking over the world. Insights and analytics are incredibly important for businesses. And a lot of businesses are focusing on how they can increase the insights and actions that they can take coming from all of the data that they have. So our team helps with just analyzing that data, organizing that data, and bringing to life these actionable recommendations that we can glean from your insights. Now, the next area that we have here is digital engineering. So this is really the heart of how we bring to life all of the experiences that we bring for you. So this is the software development piece that builds the platforms, builds the applications, the management system, the tools, and also even integrating or enhancing any existing off-the-shelf platforms that you may have. And then what that digital engineering brings to life are those experiences of your members, your customers, your fans, your end users. So this is any type of like front end facing experience online, on apps, omni-channel experiences, connecting the physical into the digital. We really, really love bringing that for our clients and their end users. And then lastly, we have a business agility team, which leads it and brings all of our teams together to deliver you a really great, holistic, and seamless experience. And we have experts in project management, program management, and we follow an agile methodology in all of our work. So, Alyssa at the end will tell you some of our clients that we've worked with, and hopefully, you'll be interested in partnering with us as well. So, let's get to the heart of it. Let's move on to the next slide, and we want to just set the stage for what the landscape looks like right now within AI and specifically generative AI. We know that this is a really, really on trend emerging technology that is taking the marketplace by storm. So let's look at some of the industry numbers. According to IBM and Forbes, about 50% of US companies are planning to incorporate Gen AI into their 2024 strategy. So I'm sure all of you are deep into 2024 planning, and you're curious about how you can use Gen AI, and that's why you're here today. And then if we look at the types of companies worldwide, we see that over almost about 250 million of those companies are already using AI tools, and they don't plan to stop. They want to add even more AI tools into their business operations. And you'll be able to see today how some of these tools help us engage more quickly, help us be able to move faster, be able to improve our accuracy. AI has tons of applications across any part of your organizational structure, and also, in operations. And because of this, we're really thinking about how to make really smart AI investments. So 77% of US technology leaders are using or exploring the use of generative AI. And, it's such an emerging technology, and a lot of learning and exploration needs to happen from the consumer side and also from the builder side. And so we're really excited that you're here to have that conversation and learn and explore with us together. And then lastly, I already kind of touched upon this before, but AI has so many different areas of impact, from security to how we deliver great service or experiences for our customers, how we manage our inventory, how we create content, how we personalize these great experiences for our stakeholders. And then also on the back end, from the supply chain to optimizing our platforms, and then overall powering our e-commerce operations. So without further ado, I am going to turn it over to my colleague Srini here, and he will start opening the door on what Nisum has developed in terms of generative AI for enterprise search. Over to you, Srini.
Thank you, Tina. Greetings, everyone. I'm really happy to share this cutting edge technology and how we are championing this state of the art through our initiatives at Nisum. Right. Before we discuss how generative AI elevates enterprise search and how Nisum can enable this transition, let us quickly look at what enterprise search is all about. Right? It's a tailored solution that helps users gather information from various data sources within their organization, as opposed to a web search, which is a larger scale search. This is confined to an organization, and the goal typically is to have a solution that is cost effective, brings back meaningful results that users are looking for, and the results should meet the user's expectations and help with their with delivering their day-to-day responsibilities. Right. So with any tool, uh, going into the challenges, even the traditional search also has its own challenges. So moving to the next slide. So the solution that currently is in practice suffers from relevance because these are all keyword based search solutions. It would be very difficult for the tools to fetch and preserve the user's intent and bring back appropriate results. I'll just quote an example. Recently, when I was searching through for perks and benefits, and I do a search and I get relevant results, of course. We shouldn't blame the results, but it also includes some information that I was not looking for. For example, it was showing me the benefits of caffeine in coffee. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for perks and benefits around California, and it brings up something that I was not intending for. And then there could be a use case where you would be searching, you're on a storefront on the web and you're searching for trousers. Without knowing how the items are cataloged, when you search for trousers, you expect the search results to bring back trousers, pants, jeans, and whatnot. But if it is a keyword based search and if the catalog does not tag the information for all material, jeans and pants, it would just bring back trousers alone. So that is not what the intended user's intent was. So that is what these current tools suffer from. It needs specific handling to bring back all the related information, and that is what we are going to see how generative AI is going to solve. Right. The next problem that we see is difficulty in personalizing the output on a per user basis. So as part of the current solution, which are keyword based, I was mentioning before, the output is the same for everyone. You cannot format on an individual basis the outputs that come back as part of the search results, right? It also suffers from variety of data formats. You have people within an organization storing data in various formats: structured data, databases, semi-structured data, XML files, JSON files, CSV files, and unstructured data, documents. You have under various formats. There are variety of formats that get stored in an organization, and not just that. Because of the siloed nature of all these departments, you have multiple repositories having firewalls restricting the access to these repositories. So traversing these repositories and getting to the content to index and to search and provide the results appropriately to the entire organization at large is a very big task. And the biggest problem that these current technologies suffer is their inability to index and look through multimedia data. We are so many smartphones capture so much of data, so much of video. This recording that's happening, if you want to search through this recording at a later date for content and present it to the users, you will not be able to do that using our present search technology, right? Conventional search tools cannot help search through these images and videos, right? And then the final issue that we see, the challenge that the tools see is security, right? Access control. You do not want personal data from HR to be visible to users across the organization. You need to have some sort of an access control, right? You need to have privacy control with more and more importance being given to privacy. It is the first and foremost item that you need to preserve. Social security numbers, sensitive user data, you need to make sure that it is not visible and it needs special treatment. And then the ever-changing landscape, regulatory landscape, throws a lot of challenges in maintaining these tools and keeping up to date with the security-related challenges. Moving on to what and how generative AI can solve these challenges, right? Generative AI is powered by large language models that everyone knows. It is the buzzword right now that people always discuss, right? So because of the technology, because of the way they try to search the content, you can have a semantics based search, which means you can have similarity synonyms, you can index and search through to get what the user is actually intending to search for. And then because they are backed by vector database technologies, the they are quite efficient. They are state of the art database technologies that can bring back results, extract results with low latencies and high throughput. So that really brings you results faster, with more accuracy, and preserving what you were actually looking for. And then, because of these are generative AI models, you can actually personalize them. You can instruct the model to format the response on a per user basis. If we know the user's intent, if we know the user's persona, for example, if the user is a marketing team person, you can actually say, bring up the material and format in such a fashion that it can be consumed for a marketing presentation. Such instructions can be provided to these generative AI models, and you would get the results back. You can tailor them for languages. You can say, bring up the response in so and so language, and it would be able to format and bring it up on a per user basis. And the next one that can easily help in this journey is retrieval, right? The same challenges appear, but you can index very easily data from various sources. Structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data can be easily handled. And the biggest advantage is the ability for these models to index images, multimedia data in general, in images, videos, and even audio data if you so want it. And you can actually search through using natural language queries. For example, if you have gone through a storefront and you saw a beautiful dress with a logo or a phrase printed on the dress, and that is all you remember, you come back and you have an index of a retailer, and you want to search through for that particular dress. And you could do that with the generative AI, where you can say, you can type in the phrase, bring me the dress that had this painted across across, and voila, you will get it. So that is the power of generative AI, which can index through text and multimedia documents, and enables you to search, and it opens up a large horizon for the search realm, right? And of course, generative AI does not have a magical bullet for security. We face the same security challenges that all other tools face, but due to our exposure to a variety of scenarios, we are quite prepared to tackle them, as do others in similar situations. So across organizations, security is paramount, and they are on top of this evolving, ever changing landscape due to regulations, due to privacy laws. And we can always be on top of the security related challenges. Moving on to the next slide. Right. So the semantics based search, the the conventional chat interface and the vector database are what set this paradigm apart as a really advantageous solution, and it really elevates the search experience, right? Analysts claim that there is an improved search accuracy with lower latencies because of this technology. Right, the search results seem to be very satisfying with increased revenue potential that they enable. Right, there seems to be a better engagement of users when the search is driven by a chat interface and behind the scenes a generative AI based model is fueling the search results. So generative AI seems to reduce the total cost of ownership as well, mainly due to the fact that very efficient models are being open sourced, free of cost, and you can use it commercially for your search implementations. And that really is bringing up um, the cost of total cost of ownership. Not just the models themselves, the vector databases also have a free open source as part of open source software. They're available, which are very efficient in bringing up the results and reduce latencies. Moving on. So we have been seeing all the benefits that generative AI brings, but it's not all rosy. It's not all picture perfect, right? The technology has its downsides as well if you're not careful, right? But we have solutions for all the challenges that they face as well, right? Generative AI suffers from what is called hallucinations. Everyone, it's so popular, the term is so popular that everyone knows that that is one of the biggest drawbacks of these generative AI solutions. But not everything is lost. There is a way to control how. Basically, what is hallucination? Let's go look at that first, right? The model makes up responses from its learning, not from the content that we have trained with, right? So it is so good in generating the content that it actually like a person, it hallucinates and brings up and makes up data that is not factual, right? So there is a way to solve that as well. Careful prompt engineering. So whenever you are asking a generative AI to bring up a result, you are actually providing a prompt to the model. So if you craft your prompt properly, if you give a good context which covers a good um, area, so that it confines the uh, uh, sphere of operation for these models, you can actually contain this hallucination behavior, right? So careful prompt engineering is the key. And if it doesn't solve the problem for a specific use case, you can actually retrain the model to behave the way you want it. And the next one is to control and filter offensive content. So the offensive content is more, its possibility is more from the user's input, and also we need to filter it as a response, right? So we do have models that help us uh, identify this offensive content and filter it as well. So we have these models, we have used them successfully in filtering offensive content and protecting the user from the model's generation of offensive content as well, right? And then with respect to security, right, this is always an ongoing task, and one needs to be on top of these ever-changing threat landscape. We have been there. People have done that, and it is a solved problem. The one thing is you need to be aware of it. You need to be aware of the ever-changing threat landscape and be on top of it. So that is something that is an ongoing task. So with that, I will hand it over to my colleague Osama, who will set the context for the demo, and we'll follow it up with the demo itself. Thank you.
Thanks, Srini. Hello, everyone. So I'll be taking you guys through the demo. So to give you guys a bit of context regarding the solution we built. So first, look at the challenges. So we had a scenario where a company's internet posts some safety policies in the form of documents and wiki links. So these policies were being constantly updated, sometimes more than once a day. So this scenario was posing some problems and some challenges. So we'll discuss a few of those. So the first thing was the challenge of relevance, because as these safety policies were being updated multiple times, sometimes the users, the employees, they were looking at an older version of the policy, and this can have certain risk for the organization. First one being direct safety risk to the employees' well-being, because if something critical changed in the policy document, that can result in some problems in safety. And that can also have some legal repercussions, including fines for non-compliance of certain government regulations. And the second challenge was, since these were documents, complete documents spanning multiple pages, so sometimes when a person is looking for very certain information, they need to look through whole of the document, and sometimes multiple documents if they are related. So this also was very challenging, and it led to decreasing the employee productivity along with introducing inefficiency in the process because of delays. So this is sort of the challenges that we aim to solve. So let's move to the solution, the architecture that we came up with to solve these problems. So let's move to the next slide. Yeah, so we have this high-level architecture here. Here we can see the user mainly interacts with the web application that has a chatbot UI, which is connected to a chat server. But the main component, the core of the system, is the enterprise search backend, which has these policy documents that we were referring to, saved as knowledge base in a vector database. So whenever a user wants to know anything specific to any policy or document, they simply pose a query to the chatbot on the UI, and that is forwarded to the enterprise search backend via the chat server. So in order to get a response, the enterprise search backend uses the knowledge base that is on the vector database, and the OpenAI as an external service to generate a response that is human friendly by using the large language models. So the second problem that we solved by running a job that constantly looks for updates, and whenever it sees an update, the knowledge base is updated with the latest information. So this results in a seamlessly integrated centralized policy management and search solution powered by, of course, generative AI that gives us a great user experience. And of course, as Srini mentioned, other LLM options are also there and can be replaced by, and we can replace the OpenAI LLMs by open source alternatives, which can also result in reduced cost. So with that out of the way, I hope you guys get the point. Let's move to the actual demo. Yeah, so let's start the demo.
Hello, welcome to the Nisum Generative AI Virtual Assistant demo. A company's intranet is home to vital policies and documents, but accessing and staying updated can be a challenge. Consequences range from safety hazards to legal issues. Our solution, an easy-to-use tool with a user-friendly interface, continuous updates, proactive notifications, pinpoint accuracy, and minimal manual effort. This tool will revolutionize how employees access and engage with policies and documents, promoting safety, productivity, and compliance. As part of this demo, we will ask our virtual assistant some questions, and it will look for the answer in these files we uploaded previously, and also for the last two questions, it will look for the answer in a URL indexed as well. As you can see, we uploaded 3 PDF files that covers the following safety policies: walking working surfaces, powered industrial vehicles, and protective equipment. Also, we indexed a URL from Wikipedia as an example regarding food safety. The last update timestamp is clearly visible in all 4 instances. Now, let's start asking our first question: how to choose the proper safety equipment for a certain task. Notice how we intentionally introduced a typo, just like a typical user might, and yet we still received the correct answer. Our virtual assistant efficiently delivers the response, accompanied by a link to pertinent files, in cases where our information is stored in PDF format, or a URL sourced from our wiki database. This facilitates your access to supplementary information, enabling you to download the document or print it for your reference. Let's try one more question. What training is needed to use ladders? Once more, the Nisum virtual assistant promptly presents the response within the same framework, including the file's location for your convenience. Let's now request information from a wiki URL. What can be considered physical food contamination? During this query, the Nisum virtual assistant will furnish the URL it consulted as a reference to obtain this information. Our final question for today shall be, what other type of food contamination we may encounter? Once again, the Nisum virtual assistant will provide the URL it referenced as the source of information. We appreciate your time and interest in our virtual assistant demo, powered by Nisum. If you have any further questions or would like to explore more, please feel free to reach out. Thank you for being a part of this demonstration.
Okay then, so that was the demo. I really hope you guys liked it. And for the next slide, I will give it back to Srini. Thanks.
Thank you, Osama. So let's jump to the next slide. So all right. So I hope the demo was convincing. It demonstrates the ability of a generative AI model and how it can help the safety, and how it brings to the user's fingertips the entire information spanning across tons and tons of documents. So now let's see how Nisum can engage in this transition and help customers transition from a traditional search solution to a new and efficient generative AI based solution, right? So whatever be the maturity level of search implementations within an enterprise, right? Be it ad hoc, where search solutions are built as the need arises, or whether the search solution itself has a specific roadmap and the customer is traversing through this roadmap, or a customer has a completely optimized solution and we need to help them transition. Or for that matter, if a customer is trying to pursue generative AI based solution as part of their strategic initiative. So whatever be the maturity level of the customer, we can engage and provide a solution using the generative AI based solutions for any use case and help with the transition, right? We can engage directly with the customer and provide. So if we can move on a couple of steps there, and then see the how we Nisum's advantages, going to the next topic there. Alyssa. Right. So we can rapidly identify the requirements and identify the deltas in order to achieve this transition. Right? Because of our variety of engagements that we have been involved with, we have a lot of pre-built software kits that address each and every situation. So it is readily available for us to provide it as a ready-made tool as part of the solution. We can do an on-prem deployment or a cloud-based solution, or we can also provide a proof of concept to prove the technology, or if it is if the technology is convincing, we can go with the most viable product as well. So it doesn't matter what the level of engagement is. We have been there, done that because of our global skilled workforce, and we offer 24/7 development cycles because of our global presence. Thank you, and I was really happy to share this cutting edge technology with you all. I believe we go into the Q&A session now. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you all very much. That was really great. Sorry about the technical difficulties there. Sometimes when you're switching back and forth from YouTube, it can be a little wonky. So much apologies there. So now we're going to hop into our Q&A, and I did see some questions come in during our session, so we're going to address those now. The first question here says, while implementing AI to your business processes, how are you ensuring the data safety for the customers? And is there any threat?
So let me take this question. So this is similar to the way the existing search solutions work as well, right? They are in-house, the data is in-house, and we can also stop the data crossing boundaries by having models hosted in-house as well. In addition to that, we have the ability with access control. So not only are we stopping the data from going out, we can also stop the data from being visible based on roles and responsibilities. We can implement privacy, and we can implement regulatory compliance as well. So it's a holistic solution that we provide to safeguard the data, and provide the necessary privacy and regulatory compliance.
Wonderful. So a couple more questions have come in here too. So this one is asking about the numbers that we had in one of these slides at the beginning of the presentation. We had some metrics listed there. And someone was asking, are those numbers based on an internal study, or what was the source for those that was on the slide?
So I think I missed giving the source. Is there any way we can go back and provide the industry source? I can readily provide that. We have support at nisum.com, so we can exchange the source through that channel as well.
Okay. So some other questions we have here. So how do we handle privacy and compliance with regulations? It says here, such as GDPR or HIPAA, and some specific use cases if we have any.
Kashif, you want to take that question? Yeah, please.
Yeah, thank you. So in the healthcare domain, usually the index documents that we usually use are usually static, non-sensitive information, and which are usually being used by the working staff, nurses, doctors, researchers, and thus will not be any issue for handling or protecting patient information. However, if a patient do provide his or her information as part of the chat, then we can easily identify that information. We can use various aliasing techniques to disassociate that information with the user. and then we can use that information with the model. In the case of GDPR, our framework enables the implementation to search user-specific data within the vector database and can extract it or delete it as per the request. I hope I answered this question.
Wonderful. So let's look at some other questions we have here. This one is an industry-based question. It says, what industries are using generative AI for enterprise search? This person says they've only really seen it in retail themselves. So what other industries might this be good for beyond retail?
I
Right.
can jump in here.
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Please
so
keep going.
there's a lot of different applications to generative AI. This particular example was actually brought to us by a very interested prospect who had a lot of challenges within their warehousing department. So warehousing, it could be for manufacturing, it could be for production of goods, it could be for construction, it could be for real estate, could be for a variety of different things. And the great thing about enterprise search is that companies, regardless what industry they're in, they house so much information, right? Information for HR, for benefits, for payroll, for safety, as you've seen. And data really transcends every single industry. And so having that access to information at your fingertips and at all of your employees' fingertips in a fast manner, an accurate manner, an updated real-time manner, that goes well beyond retail.
Great. Thank you, Tina. Some other questions that we've had come in. This Katarina is asking, does Nisum do consulting or just dev?
I can take that one as well, Alyssa.
Great.
Yes, Katarina, thank you for that question. So Nisum does both. We have been I like to say in existence since the beginning of the internet. That's actually how we got started. Is our early clients were brick and mortar stores, and they wanted to digitize their commerce. And so our founder and leadership in the mid to late 90s, really was able to see the way that the internet was transforming commerce. And so we have amassed many decades of leadership in knowledge and expertise in emerging technology. And so a lot of our clients come to that for that expertise. And simultaneously, we can do consulting services and strategic advisory of the tech landscape while also doing the custom software development. So we really pride ourselves in being end-to-end. And after this Q&A, Alyssa will be able to share with you some of the clients that we do work with.
Definitely. Thank you, Tina. So we have one more question here in the queue from, oh, never mind, a couple more. Oh, a few more coming in. So the next question is from Elaine, who is asking about, we had mentioned AI models hallucinating or generating made-up content. So they want to know what measures need to be in place, or how do we mitigate these hallucinations?
Right. So the first and foremost mitigatory measure is to provide a context that is enveloping enough that it is confining the model from hallucinating. So a prompt engineering is a first step. So that will solve most of the cases of hallucinations. The second one that is coming up right now is called something called red teaming. right? No, the second step would be to retrain the model for specific use cases if that solves the problem. That typically would solve the problem. The third one, an emerging area of research that is happening, is something called red teaming. Red teaming is to identify, to evaluate the model by throwing in threat vectors that cause the model from hallucinating. So by identifying the threat vectors that are causing the model to hallucinate, you can actually guard against hallucinations by training the model to address those situations. So it is still an evolving field, and people are able to arrest it. We were able to arrest it with prompt engineering, and we are looking into this red teaming also.
Wonderful. Thank you, Srini. So we have a couple more questions here in the queue. This one, okay. So it says, as digital commerce is one of Nisum's fortes, how do you see Gen AI impacting the e-commerce landscape?
I can start off with this, and then my colleagues are welcome to jump in with what they see. So we work with a wide variety of clients who are really leaders in their field. They are retailers in grocery and mass merch and specialty with wide implications in e-commerce. And, I see a couple applications here. The first one is as it relates to content writing. So there is a strong need, which currently is being manually handled through content writers for things like product listings, item descriptions, making sure that anything online is being written correctly. And generative AI can really help with that because it can produce that content in a very, very short amount of time and get that onto the site so that it speeds up the speed to market, if you will, and also reduces the human labor cost. And really the main thing there is just training the models to be more accurate, which it will be over time. Customer service is another one that is huge as well. There is a lot of time and labor costs going into servicing customer claims, returns, orders, delivery inquiries, etc. And so generative AI can play a very large role in that. We've seen on the back end with everything that is involved with shipping product or anything on the back end that requires warehousing or inventory management, order management, those types of systems, generative AI can help in doing the testing, doing test automation, quality control, etc. So those are a couple of different areas that I see generative AI affecting digital commerce. Do my colleagues have any other areas that they'd like to highlight?
Yeah, sure, Tina. Thank you. So, I mean, I definitely everything that Tina mentioned definitely is relevant there in terms of the impact that Gen AI can have. Few others could be around product descriptions. Generative AI, it can automatically generate product descriptions and reviews and user manuals that are needed. You could look at, we already talked about search functions, but it can go much deeper with the generative AI search and predict user content to offer much more relevant search results. I think those are a couple of them. And I think, what else? I think we talked about content creation. And then on the inventory side, we can, generative AI can actually help analyze purchasing patterns and can generate predictions for inventory requirements. And of course, personalization is another one, and fraud detection. So the typical e-commerce areas which were being done in the traditional way gets much more enhanced with Gen AI in terms of pattern recognitions, kind of thing that is added to it, whether it's fraud detection or inventory predictions. Yeah.
Great. Oh, go ahead.
We also have a cloud cost optimization tool, which leverages generative AI to help reduce some of the costs maintaining your cloud storage, which we can talk about that in another webinar. So you guys will all have to come back.
Exactly. So since we have a little time left, I know there was a question that came in about the metrics. So I'm going to rewind back to where we had those metrics in the presentation. So bear with me for 1 second so we can address that question. So I'm just going to go right back here to where we had these metrics, and then we'll go through them for you. So Srini, did you want to address the metrics here, or anyone on the team, just to talk about, the
No,
source
the
and a little bit
question
more
was
about
the question was more from a source perspective. So I don't have it immediately with me. If I can get I can respond to an email to support at nisum.com, and I can provide the sources. I don't have the sources with me right now.
Sure. Yeah. So, from my knowledge, these all these percentages and metrics here come from a lot of our client stories. So we don't have them specifically linked here, but we do have a lot of them on our website. So what you can do is, if you'd like to see some more of the metrics and business transformations, we do have a whole section on nisum.com that has all of our client stories that you can address. And then I'm going to hop back here to our slide in the Q&A because I think we have a couple more to talk about, and then we will move forward. Okay, so one question we have here too, some more technical question. It says, why in the demo did we choose OpenAI API instead of Llama 2 or any other available LLM?
Yeah, sure. I'll take that question. So Llama 2 was not open source for quite some time. There were proof of concepts and all using Llama 2, but they were not commercial. Our goal is to go commercial and provide solutions in that space. So we could not use Llama 2. Only 2 days back, Llama 2 has open source their weights, and we are in the process of evaluating. But from an evaluation perspective, we have used several models. GPT for all was one of them, and for the demo itself, we wanted to put the best foot forward and provide a low latency demo and a better accuracy in the search results. So we have used Open AI API, right? And what we have seen with GPT for all, the other open source model, was the latency was it was a slow solution, and not only that, they have actually quantized the weights. Quantized is reducing the accuracy of the model, and we have seen not such a great search experience using that model. So we stuck with we stuck to OpenAI API, but we are evaluating Llama 2.
And then someone is asking, how good is Falcon 180B?
That is still in the roadmap. We haven't come to evaluate that yet.
Thank you. So I have one more question in the queue here, which I'd like to answer quickly, and then we will move on. So the last question is, why do you opt for a vector database over a traditionally structured one? How long does it take to implement something like this? And like, if they were on an older on-prem infrastructure, would it still work? So this kind of a couple questions in one here.
Yeah, so I can take the first one for the vector
Sure.
database.
Sure, go on, Prasanna.
So the vector database usually stores the data points in the form of a vector space. Unlike traditional databases, unstructured or structured ones that use tables or object models, So what storing in vector form gives us is a high level, we can perform high level mathematical computations that can result in low latency in retrieving data. And this can be really useful in our case, that is similarity search and retrieval, because it is more contextualized, unlike other databases that work on keyword-based searches. So this is really the best option for our use case, the vector DB. And for the next ones, I think Kashif can take over the other two questions.
So, as it has been asked, like whether this solution can be hosted on an older on-prem infrastructure. So my answer is definitely yes. The framework that we have developed, so it can work with third-party vector databases as well as generative AI models as a service. And in that model, in that way, our framework can delegate generative AI handling and processing to online services, and in that way, our solution can actually provide enterprise services on a lightweight or an older infrastructure or environment.
Great. So we're going to move on from the Q&A. And before I go to the next slide, I just wanted to really thank our panelists today for doing such an awesome job. And also, I'd like to thank our audience for asking so many great questions. There were quite a few that came in today, and I like the more in-depth direction that it took us. So thank you for that. And then in closing, I just wanted to talk about who Nisum is and some of the clients that we talked about. Tina had mentioned earlier that we would get into that a little bit at the end here. So like I said, thank you all for attending so much. And just so you get to know Nisum, for over 20 years, we've worked with many of the world's most innovative brands, which have trusted us to take their digital operations to the next level. And regardless of your industry, we can confidently help your team apply emerging technology like generative AI to your business processes, tools, and applications. And we do that in a way that really makes sense for your business and your unique challenges. We know very well that depending on what your industry is, all of your needs will be different depending on your unique business. And also, as a next step, our team would like to personally connect with any of you that'd like to talk to us to discuss your technology strategy for 2024 and how we can help you with technologies such as AI to help you drive results. And we really would like to, look forward to speaking with you on that as well. So we're going to be sending out some follow-up emails after this Tech Talk, which will have the recording of today's presentation, and also some information that you might like to see as well. And also, for all of today's attendees, we're going to be offering a free consultation. And to claim that, you can either respond to the email that we're going to be sending, or you can reach out to us directly at solutions@nisum.com. And then also, on any of the topics that we talked about today, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to us. Like I said, you can reach out to us at solutions@nisum.com, and we would love to hear from you. So on behalf of Nisum and the team, I'd like to thank you all for attending, and we hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.